All right, thank you for coming. Today we're going to discuss Dr. Rangan Chatterjee's book, The Four Pillar Plan, which goes over the four pillars that he finds most important in preventing chronic disease. I happen to agree with him, and hence presenting this to you all. The pillars are the relaxation pillar, the sleep pillar, movement pillar, and food pillar. Today we're only going to talk about the relaxation and the sleep pillars, as I see those most important in my life and most important in the majority of my patients' lives. And so we'll be talking about those. This is a great quote which he had that he found even in his own practice, that the health problems of the majority of patients are driven entirely by their lifestyle. Okay? Not by the lack of medicine, not by the lack of Prozac, not by the lack of anything artificial given to them, but a lack of good things in the lifestyle that they choose to do. So I picked this background font just because we're talking about relaxation, and those are pretty relaxing pictures and put you into a mind frame of, wow, maybe I haven't gone to places like that and sat looking at such beautiful scenery and taken time out to see the world. So the relax pillar. Why relax? Relaxation promotes weight loss, improved sleep, reduced feelings of stress, better coping skills, more balanced mindset, better concentration. I could go on and on and on, but relaxation is really moving yourself out of a state of fight or flight, which most of us don't actually realize we're in, okay? Because the world we live in constantly keeps all of us in this heightened sense of awareness, heightened sense of information, heightened sense of input all the time, go, 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 and that's the world that we've adapted to. But if everybody in this room thinks about the world they lived in when they were a kid, it was vastly different. And that's not that many years ago in human evolution to adapt from a time when you left in the morning on your bike or walking with friends and didn't come home till dinner with no worries or troubles to a life that a child leads now, which is bombardment with, social media from sun up to sundown, and some children through the night because they keep their phones in their rooms, and adults too, and computers, and news on the go. So we're always immersed. So this world we live in keeps us in this heightened sense of fight or flight. Now this is a protective mechanism that we developed eons ago to keep us safe from the dinosaurs, okay? To run, okay? To avoid danger. However, adaptation has not, moved us quickly enough in how to control it to keep us out of our fight or flight mode for these everyday stressors and this constant barrage of bad news and to-do lists and things that we have to do. So our fight or flight mechanism, called the sympathetic nervous system, runs overtime. And it keeps us out of our parasympathetic mode, which is the counterpart to the sympathetic nervous system. And so we're all out of balance, living up here in our fight or flight mode and never getting to this relaxation mode long enough, frequent enough, and deep enough to balance the two, which affects every aspect of our well-being. Our hormone production, our blood pressure, our pulse, our ability to gain or lose weight, our concentration, our lack of concentration, etc. So that's where working on the relaxation pillar really helps to balance those out. And I spent a lot of time counseling my patients about this and the need to get out of this fight or flight mode that we don't realize we're in because it's the societal norm. Or is it? We're led to believe that it is, but it's really not. And there are many people out there who choose not to participate and who choose to stay more calm and more relaxed and adapt that into their lifestyle. And that's what we all need to do a little more. So, consequences. As I said, cortisol surge. Okay, cortisol is your stress hormone. Okay, it peaks in the wee hours of the morning to get us ready for the day. And then it slowly tapers throughout the day. From the mid-morning, it really starts to flatten out, and it decreases all the way to bedtime. Okay, that's the normal. Okay, I do saliva cortisol testing on patients who can't sleep or who are too stressed or have chronic illness, And we find that they're spiking their cortisol throughout the day at abnormal times. They're spiking at lunch. They're spiking in the evening time. And that is not going to let you sleep. That's not going to let you relax. It's not going to let you lose weight. Cortisol in excess is a damaging hormone. Okay? You get a cortisol steal, which is shunting of your hormones towards cortisol and not towards your normal sex hormones, testosterone, estrogen. Okay? So why do we have such a rampant testosterone and hormonal imbalance in this country? Could it be stress? Stealing the cortisol, or the cortisol stealing those hormones from us? Yes. And it goes on and on and on. Stress, or that fight or flight mechanism, is poor for digestion. Okay? Blood shunts away from the GI tract, and you can't break down and assimilate food properly. You can't move it through properly, and so we have this horrible condition called IBS, irritable bowel syndrome. Really, what is that? Stress gut. Okay? And you can take all the probiotics you want in the world, but until you learn to control your stress and relax, probably not going to quite get there. It's poor. It damages digestive health in reducing the protective layer of the gut. It has damaging effects on your gut biome, which is the population of good bacteria in your stomach. It decreases the good bacteria and lets the bad bacteria run wild. And those bad bacteria send bad signals. They decrease normal production of neurotransmitters. They send signals of inflammation. They send signals of increased stress hormones. So all in all, not relaxing, very bad for our gut biome and our gut-brain axis. Weakened immunity. All immunity starts in the gut. We just saw how damaging it is for the gut. We get release of excess cytokines, which are inflammatory mediators, which can signal to decrease inflammation, but also to increase inflammation. And hence, we get inflammation from not relaxing enough. And hormone balance via the cortisol steal, as I talked about. So what can we do for this, if you're buying in already? Okay. Here's 5 very simple things that you can do that Dr. Chatterjee recommends. So me time every day. I ask people all the time, how much time do you spend on just something for you? 0 is the most common answer, or very little is the second most common. So 15 minutes a day, something completely selfish, maybe not eating a sundae, but something that is relatively healthy for you. And in your handout, there's actually a handout of healthy me time things to do. Throw on headphones, listen to some relaxing music, read by yourself somewhere, take a walk, just you, just technical quiet, nothing that's going to be adversely stimulating. A 7-day digital detox, which is in your handout, okay? That's probably one of the most powerful tools there is. I just had a young gentleman in his 20s come in feeling he was depressed. This is a very similar story as to what's in the book with one of Dr. Chatterjee's patients, and I just lived it with the guy. So he's a college grad, he's in his second job. He went from a job where he's more active to sitting at a computer for 8 hours a day, project manager. And then he's of the age where he's a digital guy, so he's on his phone a lot. And, you know, phone before work, phone during work, phone after work emails after work. And so I literally just talked to him about his digital exposure. He's like, it's all the time. I'm in bed going through it before I go to sleep. How's sleep? Terrible. Okay? So he was in here literally looking for an antidepressant medication. Okay? Or thinking that's what he needed. And so we just talked about the 7-day detox and starting to decrease the time, taking the notifications off his phone so he's not getting work emails on his phone, freaking him out at night, setting off his stress mode. And he really lightened up just in our conversation because he just started to realize it. What was really the underlying problem with what was going on was his inability to relax because of, 1, his job, 2, the stressors of it, 3, how he allowed those stressors to affect him. Okay? So the 7-day digital detox, even if you did a couple of those interventions, it's huge in your life. I took the notifications off my phone a while ago. It's so peaceful. When I have time for email, I hit refresh. Maybe it throws up 40 of them. Oh well, I have time to do emails now, as opposed to seeing I've got 40 emails as I'm going through the day seeing patients, thinking I got to look at those, I got to look at those. So that's a stressor that has been removed. Okay? Gratitude journal. Studies have proven improved mood, improved energy, improved sleep simply by keeping a gratitude journal next to your bed every night and writing down 10 things you're thankful for before bed every night. I mean, instead of a sleeping pill, you just do a gratitude journal. You shift the focus of your brain from the worries of the day, worries what you did, what you didn't do, what you said, what you didn't say, to what am I really thankful for? And that starts a physiologic process in the body of good chemicals, okay, to help you sleep. Practice stillness daily. That goes along with kind of that me time, where it's not exercise, it's not taking a walk, you're just sitting still. A good way to do this is involving that whole lack of nature in our lives, sitting outside, enjoying a little morning sun, without sunglasses. It's very important to start your day, and just breathing. Let your mind wander. If you're that worried you're going to be late for something, set an alarm so you don't fall asleep there. But it's a great way to start your day. But practicing stillness anytime you start to feel harried, rushed, pushed, stressed, sit in your car. Wait a moment before going into that appointment. Breathe for 5 minutes. Take that stillness break. And one of my favorites is reclaim your dinner table. Most of you probably don't have too many young ones around the table anymore. I still do. But even with your spouse, your significant other, having a media box. Phones go in the box. They're not even just face down. Face down, you're more likely to grab it and peek at it than if it's in a box. Put them on the other counter. Dinner is to be a slow process, a conversational process, a digestive process. And how can you digest if you're peeking at digital media? Okay? Getting the wrong signals. So really reclaiming the dinner table for that meal that is relaxing, improved digestion will occur, conversation will occur, and it will just set the tone for the evening. So 5 simple things that can really help get you moving on your relaxation pillar. All right, this is the 7-day digital detox. You have it in your handout. I'll just touch on them real quick. Switch off all the push notifications on your phone on Monday, okay, or your iPad, your computer. Unsubscribe from those redundant emails. Take time one day to unsubscribe from all those baloney emails that fill up your box that really aren't important to you, so you don't just keep deleting them every day. That's a stressor having to do that. Set up your email app, like I said, to refresh manually, and stop all work emails to your phone. People don't do business 24/7. That's been a created process by humans, thinking that we don't need to sleep. Sleep's for wimps, and we're go, go, go. And one of the quotes in the book was that we are the supremely ignorant beings to think that we can change millions of years of evolution and suddenly not need sleep. Okay? Sleep is essential to every physiologic process in the body. Device box for meal times, screen time free 90 minutes before bed. It's not many people I talk to that do that. Okay? TV becomes a habit, just noise in the background. I know people who go to sleep with the TV on just for the sound. It's disturbing to your subconscious. It's not a good thing. People freak out on this one. 2 1-hour periods daily, no screens. I'd be lucky to get people to agree to 2 15-minute time frames without screen time, okay? But for some people, that's an easy thing. For many people, it is not. And then a screen-free Sabbath, an entire day without a screen. Okay, I'm on call, so that's a little harder for me, but I can put it on silent and, pick the times that I look at it, but I still need to be available for emergencies. Most people can do this. You really can. The emails will still be there the next day.
I thought it was a sunscreen.
It's a sunscreen-free day.
Get our vitamin D.
Yes. Early in the morning, yes. You're not supposed to do the sunglasses. We'll get to that one too. Just breathe. Okay? When I talk to people about breathing and I say take a deep breath, 99% of people lift their chest, tighten their diaphragm, and take a very shallow chest breath. Okay? When really breathing is like babies do, it's belly breath. It's diaphragmatic belly breathing. So when you take a breath in, your chest really doesn't rise much, your stomach goes out. Okay? But we're not trained to do that. We want our bellies in and our chests out. Okay? At least that's what we were told. Okay? But that's the wrong type of breathing. That's paradoxical breathing. We need belly breathing to really fill those lungs and slow down our breaths. Be conscious of them. When you take that 5 minutes of stillness, think about your breaths. Feel them. It will really slow you down. It will declutter your mind. It will help you organize. It will help you prioritize instead of the normal chaos that tends to be going on. So Dr. Chatterjee likes the 3-4-5 breathing. You can find a million variations of this from 4-7-4, 5-5-5. I think the 3-4-5 is very easy to remember and easy to do. Okay? Inhaling for 3 seconds, holding for 4 seconds, and breathing out for 5. I promise if you do 5 cycles of this, your pulse will probably drop close to 10 points, unless you're already one of those people who has a low resting heart rate. It will still lower it some then. Technically, breathing in through the nose, out through the mouth, I don't really care. If you're just doing the breath in that kind of a fashion, I don't care if it's nose or mouth. Many people think there's very specific ways you can get to that, but I just want people to do it. Just do it, okay? There are apps that help you with this quiet breathing. Headspace, or another app called Calm, they walk you through it. It's a little person talking on your smartphone to you, okay, while you sit relaxing and doing it. There are more significant systems that I recommend to people and counsel them to use, such as HeartMath, which gives you feedback as to how well you're doing with the breathing. It has levels of difficulty, but it is robust. It is clinically proven to lower blood pressure by over 10 points in your systolic and close to 10 points on your diastolic. It's been around for over 20 years. It's used by thousands of counselors around the country to give their clients something to do at home to work on their anxiety, to work on their stress, to work on their depression, because we know if you breathe, you will improve your neurotransmitters, you will calm yourself and improve all of those conditions, including blood pressure. Muse is a different one that measures brain waves. You wear it on your head, still has a smartphone app, but it's monitoring how your brain waves are doing while you're breathing that way, as opposed to HeartMath is measuring your heart and respiratory cycle and their what's called coherence. So those are just a couple of real serious systems. I mean, they're not serious money, but if you really want to get into it, I recommend that. Sleep, okay? That thing that we've really cheated and minimized the importance of and cut into in our daily routines and minimized at the expense of our health. So the second pillar I think that's most important is this sleep. Without it, the relaxation pillar is going to be even more difficult. So here's a great quote. If sleep does not serve an absolutely vital function, then it's the biggest mistake in the evolutionary process ever made. So obviously, if we're not taking this serious and thinking that it's important, well, you know, we've really missed the boat. So sleep deprivation, very common in young and old physicians. We were trained in it in residency in medical school. Sleep deprivation, too many distractions, sleep's for wimps. On average, we've cut 1 to 2 hours out of our sleep on average over the last 60 years from what people did in the past. That's a 25% reduction. That's significant. That's a lot of time. Multiple studies prove that sleep deprivation is worse than intoxication in your reaction time. Okay? So someone who's on a 24-hour shift and doesn't get any sleep driving home, they're just as bad as the person blowing a .08 or whatever it is, 0.8, 0.08, I don't know. I'm glad I don't know that. It's extremely slow, poor reaction times. Sleep deprivation does not allow body detoxification because our body does most of our detoxification and cleanup while we're sleeping, when we're not taxing the body in other ways. The liver's cleaning out, the GI tract's cleaning out. That's why the most normal bowel movements are in the morning, because the GI tract has pushed everything down and ready to go. However, if we're not sleeping, these processes can't take place. The cellular process of repair and restoration is known as autophagy. Okay? And autophagy is very important. Otherwise, we are oxidizing all of the time. If you're not sleeping, you're oxidizing, and oxidizing is aging. Okay? So not good for us. You get impaired hormone synthesis. Your body does most of its hormone production at night while you're asleep. So again, if you're staying up, hormone imbalance. Memory impairment. Memory is severely impaired from sleep deprivation. So those people who come in, oh, I think I'm having some memory problems, and a word recall is hard, and I'm kind of scattered. How much are you sleeping? Oh, 5 or 6 hours a night. Ding. We don't need Adderall, we need sleep. Okay? Benefits of good sleep. Okay? We overlook these. It's nice to read them and remember them and go, oh yeah, that's why I should go to bed earlier instead of trying to do that next hour of work or cruise the internet for a little while longer looking at stuff that doesn't change my life. Increased energy, increased concentration and memory, enhanced autophagy or cellular cleanup, improved immunity. Undeniably, people who are sick all the time are definitely sleep deprived. Increased life expectancy. There's an island in the Mediterranean where they have crazy life expectancy, and the researchers are studying them. Guess what they do? They all nap. Okay? So naps are good. Micro sleeps are good. If you feel a little tired and you can, check out for 5 or 10 minutes. If you fall asleep for 2 hours, your body needed it. Naps are okay. So know that those little micro checkouts or macro are okay to do. They do have enhanced life benefits. Reduce stress levels, reduce stress hormones. If you're not sleeping enough, your cortisol release is going to be way out of whack. Okay? Because if you haven't slept or you didn't sleep enough hours, your body's got to push out more cortisol to keep you going through the day. You're going to be more willing to make poor food choices. So better food choices are the result of good sleep. Poor sleep, yeah, I just need something to get me going. I'm just so tired. I didn't sleep. I'm going to look for sugar. I'm going to look for caffeine. I'm going to make some bad choices to get myself through the day. Here's a big one. Reduced risk of Alzheimer's and chronic stress-related diseases. At the beginning of this talk, I talked about how the majority of these chronic disease states and complaints that come in are the result of stress, which is the result of lifestyle choices. So these lifestyle choices are extremely important at preventing autoimmune disease, these chronic inflammatory degenerative diseases like Alzheimer's disease, Parkinson's disease. So stress is huge, and sleep is one of those things you must have to decrease stress. So another 5 steps, okay? Very simple. Create an environment of absolute darkness. How many people have a room that's absolutely dark when you sleep? 2, okay? My wife always thought I was crazy because I would go put something in front of the cable box because I couldn't stand the clock. Or when the new ones came out, they just had the little blue bar. I'm like, no way, I had to have that blocked. So absolute darkness, blackout shutters, blackout shades, dark, dark, dark. We need dark to sleep. Any light pollution coming in the bedroom disrupts sleep, keeps you in lighter sleep, makes it harder to get to sleep. So absolute darkness. Embracing morning light, getting light in the morning is very important to the circadian rhythm, okay? Controlled by the superior chiasmatic nucleus in your hypothalamus. You need morning light to keep that cycle working properly, okay? That's why places where there's not much sunlight, they get seasonal affective disorder, Alaska, where it's dark all that time in the winter. It's very important to embrace morning sunlight, okay? There are studies proving that people who get ready for work, drive to work, sit and work all day, and do not expose themselves to some lux or natural sunlight that spend all day under artificial lights might only get to a level of 500 lux, which is not sufficient for good health and a normal circadian rhythm. So morning sun, we're supposed to rise with the morning, get up, be outdoors doing things, hence the 5 minutes of stillness outside when the sun's coming up. If you can extend it longer, even better. Preferably no sunglasses. Don't stare at it. But yes, yes, it is. And the pineal gland gets stimulated to not produce melatonin because during daylight hours you're not supposed to. So this gets into the blue light now that we get from computers and screens all the time. Getting that after dark, you're telling the pineal gland to not secrete melatonin. It's not just that you shouldn't do it, it's physiologic. You shouldn't be on these screens after dark. If you are, a little life hack here, amber glasses. Okay? Amber glasses cut down on blue light. Okay? I wear glasses, so these go over mine. Okay? And they're meant to go over glasses. Online, Amazon. Okay? So this completely reduces blue light. Everything looks so different. And it allows the pineal gland to say, oh, it is night. Let's secrete melatonin so we can get into normal sleep stages. Okay? So sundown comes, technically you should put these on for TV, computer, smartphone. Realistically, you should cut out all screens 90 minutes before bed. That's not realistic for everybody. Amber glasses, amber lenses to cut out blue light. Okay?
Is the LED daylight comparable to the blue light you're talking about?
So the question was, are the LED blue lights comparable to the blue light or the daylight? Those lights, they probably emit a little more lux, but nothing is like the natural sun.
So nothing to worry
No.
about.
And some of that sun we need for vitamin D exposure, etc. It probably improves the lux exposure a little bit, but nothing like being outside. Okay, Dr. Chatterjee practices in England, and he still encourages his clients to go out even as cold as it is there, even as cloudy as it is there. You will still absorb more lux on a cloudy day outside than you will from artificial lights. Okay, so daylight is essential to your nighttime sleeping. Okay, if you don't get it all day, probably not going to be ready for sleep as much at night. Creating a bedtime routine. How many people have a bedtime alarm? No one. Okay? But what tells you when it's time to start your routine? Nothing really other than checking the clock. But sometimes all of a sudden you're like, what? It's 10:30? How did I get to 10:30? So having an alarm on your phone for a bedtime routine. This is when I start winding down. This is when screens go off. This is when I put on music and listen to that. I turn off all screens. Maybe I read for a while. Some herbal tea, get into my pajamas, etc. Okay? No aggressive exercise at night. I know a lot of people who work out at night, not good for sleep. Okay? Increases those stress hormones. Managing your commotion. This is a day-long task, but so this is to help sleep. And he really talks in there about, trying to limit your distractions, trying to limit those non-essential things. We tend to be in a yes, 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 I'll do it world, and really starting to say no to things and not trying to be the super person, the super mom, the super boss, the super whatever, and really limit those non-essential things that you don't really need to be doing to be a little selfish, okay? To manage the commotion in your life so that you're not taxing yourself with stressful or these meaningless, slightly stressful events, okay? Enjoy your caffeine before noon, okay? I do not have a problem sleeping. I could have an espresso and go to bed, okay? It will affect the quality of my sleep and probably not good for me. So I try to embrace this, but I know I can have a nice tea in the afternoon. I can still sleep. I know overall health-wise it's probably not as good. I'm probably a fast caffeine metabolizers. Some of us metabolize slower than others. I know some people that drop caffeine and they're going to be running circles, okay? Caffeine's half-life is about 6 hours. So if you have it at noon, by 6 p.m., it's about 50% effective. So if you're going to be going to bed a few hours later, you probably do need to cut it off around noon if you're caffeine sensitive. Caffeine is a stimulant, so it's raising the stress hormone levels. That's how we use it, okay? But in this world, that young gentleman I spoke about, he also uses energy drinks, lots of them, I'm like, okay, we have another answer as to why, you feel the way you do, So enjoy the caffeine before noon, and in your handout is another list of ways to do that, to help you limit the caffeine and some other good things to do. I drink carbonated waters because I used to be a soda junkie, Diet Coke junkie, and I liked the bubbles. So I just substitute them with water that has nothing but natural flavor and bubbles. So I still get my bubbles that way. I don't have very many, but that's a way to keep me from caffeine. It's the bubble effect. So make it happen. Really, that's the best part of this book, is that it's so simple. And these lists are so simple. You read them, you're like, I can do that. And it's just a few things off every list to really make reduction of stress and improving relaxation happen. It's very simple to make improved sleep happen. And the benefits, the true physiologic benefits of these are reduction in chronic disease. Okay? If people work on these 4 pillars honestly and really embrace them and do these little hacks into their life to improve it, I guarantee there will be a reduction in chronic disease. Okay? A reduction in your chance of diabetes, a reduction in your chance of Alzheimer's. It's just going to happen. I can say, if I look back at the majority of my patients who have an autoimmune disorder, they were extremely stressed people. Okay? And by stress, I met a gentleman maybe 4 weeks ago, and he summed it up perfectly. He came up because I did a lecture on gut-brain axis and stress, and he came up to me and goes, you use that word stress a lot. He's like, I don't believe in stress. He's like, I believe in events. So life is full of events. It's how we choose to interpret them that creates whatever that response is. And if you see something as stressful, well, that's your interpretation. Mine is not. Nothing stresses me. It's just an event that took place. And if you really extrapolate that out and really think about that and start responding to things in that way, okay, the glass just fell and broke. It's a broken glass. I just have to sweep it up. It's really not stressful, but my response to it could be if I chose to. Okay? So you can really dampen the stress. And when we dampen stress in our lives, the relaxation comes up. The physiology of the body is going to be more beneficial to longevity, to cellular cleanup, stimulation of stem cells, you name it. So that is why I finished with this one. Just make it happen. And after that, I will go ahead and take questions. So thank you for attending this event, and I hope you enjoyed the presentation. If you have questions, feel free to contact me at the office.